Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm John.
And we're the Armchair Thinkers. And today we're going to be talking about the federal election, which was just called.
Oh, and that federal election is definitely a popular starting point of conversation for a lot of politically minded Canadians for a couple of reasons. Most obvious is probably that it's early. Obviously, we knew when the election date was going to be because of the new act, but the campaign is longer than we anticipated. And not only that, but it's being led by the NDP, who have never led a poll before on the federal level. So this is really shaking a lot of Canadians up, isn't it? They don't really know what to make of this.
Yeah, it's a huge change, and basically the NDP is leading because the other two candidates are not very good candidates. So
isn't that usually what inspires a new party to take the reins while they can, is weakness in the competition?
Yeah. So Stephen Harper has a long list of scandals that's well explained in an NDP video. I'll link it to you below. But let's just say there's a lot of scandals. As well, Trudeau, he lacks ideology. He's not. He's mostly for tax cuts, basically.
Well, I mean, I guess that is his ideology, his tax cut ideology, which is kind of odd because that sounds more like a conservative thing to be into. But he's big on this. He's proposed a tax cut that will only affect Canadians who make more than $44,000, and that sounds weird enough as it is. But on top of that, it only affects you if you are looking at the money above the $44,000. So the first $44,000 doesn't get any breaks.
That's right.
So it's like, what is this? This is like a retread of Bush, but in Canada, and done by the Liberals.
Well, I should mention that he lowers the tax rates on the income from 44 to 90, and he increases it on people who make 150.
But who makes 150 plus?
Or 250.
250.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that the point goes double now. Like, this guy is appealing to the small segment of the population in an election where you're trying to win votes from the largest number of people. So I don't really understand. I mean, at least he's taxing the very rich. Not that they deserve to be taxed because they're rich, but I mean, like, there is money there to be taken. I mean, like, what's the point of not helping the Canadian that makes less than $44,000? I thought that you were supposed to be about economic fairness. I thought you were supposed to be lending the little guy a hand.
Yeah. So, but the people benefit the most are the people who make between 90 and 250,000. So the top 10%, basically, rather than the top 1%.
Appealing to the small market. I don't understand it.
Yeah. And the other thing is, despite the conservative tax ads, he is giving more money for people with children, unless, again, they make a high income, because he's taking the income splitting money and putting it towards that.
So that does help on the other end a little bit, though probably less. I wonder if he does something like that to be like, oh, hey, I'm doing this great thing over here, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Doesn't look like it's working out for him, though, because he's really fallen in the polls, and I don't really see that coming back. It's sort of a three-man horse race, but I mean the NDP are pretty strongly in the lead in most polls now, and I'm really seeing it become a two-man horse race between Mulcair and Harper.
Yeah, so the current polling has the NDP in the mid-30s, and the Conservatives polling at 33% or less. Mm-hmm. So you never win an election with 33% of the vote. That's why it's likely to be the NDP, who will likely take votes from the Liberals. Mm-hmm. Or at least, historically it has been a two-way election rather than a three-way election, and it might turn out to be again.
Now, if it does turn out to be a two-way election again, it might not be enough to prevent another a minority government from happening. And minority governments, by their nature, are unstable, and if it is the NDP that wins, it'll be interesting to see how they perform, because it'll be their first try. They're liable to mess up. I mean, it could be like Bob Rae. You never know. I think Canadians are ready for a change. I think it'll happen. It might even be better than what Harper's been doing. But you know what? It is a big risk. And I will say that for good or for bad, we're going to see enormous change in the Canadian political sphere. It'll be very interesting to see how that affects us, no matter who it is that wins the election. So we look forward, both of us, very much to finding out what it is that happens here in Canada.